You get cancer and people decide you're inspiring and you're brave and you're fierce and determined. And it's like, no, we're just normal. This is life. Um, we're just normal people who happen to have an illness.
Hello everyone, welcome back to MANO Beyond Cancer. This is a space dedicated to all people with a lived cancer experience. My name is Carmen Monge, and in here we interview cancer survivors from around the world, and we learn about our experiences. Today we are with Lorna Pirozzolo. She is a cancer survivor that now she lives in Jersey. Hi Lorna.
Hi, Carmel. Lovely to meet you.
So the first question is, who are you? What are you passionate about right now? And what is your favorite food?
I guess I would sum myself up as a cancer patient advocate in both Jersey and the UK. And hopefully, with a qualification I'm doing in 2026, that'll be in Europe as well. I can't go without saying that I'm an identical twin because it's such a core part of who I am. So I have my twin back in Scotland. My favourite food, well, this is an obvious one. So mushroom pizza, but very specifically mushroom pizza di Napolitano. And what am I passionate about just now? I've really kind of recently got back into being passionate. I've always worked in male-dominated industries, and I think I've got really passionate these days about seeing where sexism in the workplace still exists. And it's more low level, but then it's more insidious, so it's much harder to call out. Um, and you get men saying the right thing because they know what the right thing to say is, but they don't necessarily believe it and their actions don't necessarily show it. So I'm quite passionate at the moment about fighting against that and also looking at neurodiversity in the workplace and the benefits that that can bring, but also how you handle neurodiversity in the workplace.
How was to have cancer in Jersey?
I'd experienced my mum's first cancer. So I knew what having cancer was like in Glasgow. I'd been through that with my mum. My mum's second cancer, I was already in Jersey, and things had improved again in Glasgow. So I was hearing again about the Beatson Institute and all the wonderful things going on there. And then Jersey's very different. We have one hospital, so you have a limited number of oncologists. So I'm lucky I get on fantastically with my oncologist, but actually, if you didn't, there's less choice. Where in the UK, if you really struggled in that setting or with that individual, you'd have more choice of being able to move to someone else. Thankfully, in some ways, I think because of that, we do have a really good team, and most people do have a good relationship with their oncologist, which is good. It's an interesting island in terms of there's a lot of sort of health and fitness here because basically everybody's a 5 minute walk from the sea. So there's a lot of outdoors activities compared to when you're living in a city. And I think one of the things that I've noticed is I feel like cancer's sort of feared more here than it was back home. And therefore the blame is put on the patients. So not by all in society. Most people understand that you don't give yourself cancer. Cancer happens to you for a great variety of reasons, the vast majority of which are out of your control. Um, but there is a sort of core group in Jersey who are very quick to kind of go on the attack and, oh well, you did this and you did that and you must not have lived healthily. And so I think from that I take away that there's more fear.
Do you know many cancer survivors, and how can you describe them in one word?
Yes, I know online. I have met some of them in person, but online I know easily a couple of hundred cancer survivors. I say survivors, and quite a few of them are like me and still have and will always have cancer. But they're the one word I would use for them is normal. We constantly get cancer and people decide you're inspiring and you're brave and you're fierce and determined. And it's like, no, we're just normal. This is life. You need to earn to put a roof over your head and food on your table. You can't just give up work and go off and do whatever you fancy. Um, we're just normal people who happen to have an illness.
Do you have any side effects that actually you like about cancer or even the treatments?
One of the side effects that most people hate was really useful for me. So my hair is naturally curly, but I've always straightened it so that teachers at school could tell my twin and I apart. And now I'm stuck with it. If it goes curly, I look like her, and it starts to freak me out a little. So I've always kept my hair straight, which really means that swimming's not an option because also with red curly hair, you shouldn't wash it very often because it's quite dry. I went on to FEC-T chemotherapy, which was my first treatment, and I lost my hair within 2 weeks. That was brilliant. I could swim every day. I haven't swum as much as that since I was a kid. And it was a really hot summer as well. And it was just fantastic. You could be out in the pool. It was an open air pool. You could be out in the pool at midnight, just cooling down and not having to worry about my hair.
What is the dumbest thing or stupidest thing someone have ever told you about having cancer?
I think not so much what people said, but especially when you become stage 4, you lose some friends. There's some people that can't deal with that. And they've always been friends and they've always been there for you and you've always been there for them. But they just gradually kind of melt away from your social groups. Um, and I think it's just they don't know what to say. And over time, they feel they've left it too long. So what do they say now? And obviously, you're never getting better. Every day, you're technically getting worse. Um, so I don't think those kind of friends ever come back, probably. So yeah, there was definitely, I feel that that is somewhat to do with the stigma that they hold about cancer. Now, the funniest thing, and it wasn't stupid because it was said by a 3-year-old, so I can't call it stupid, but it was just brilliant. When I was, yeah, about 6 months into treatment, my first, well, 6 months post-diagnosis, my twin came over to stay with me and brought my nephew, who was only 3 at the time. And actually, he'd have been nearly 4. And as kids do, you tell them to knock a door in the morning to wake somebody up, but they don't. They just barge in. So I'm just woken up by this gorgeous little boy just barging into my room. Morning, Auntie LJ. Um, and he just barges into my room. And my immediate thought is, oh, I don't have my wig on. He'd only seen me with my wig. But he just looks at me for a second and then he just jumps up in the bed, gives me a cuddle, and then we have a morning chat and we discuss what he's going to do that day. And he hasn't mentioned my lack of hair at all. And bear in mind, I look like his mum. And when he was a baby, he couldn't tell us apart. So I look like his mum. And now there's this person that looks like his mum, but with no hair. And I heard afterwards that when he went back through, I was going in the shower, he went back through to his mum's room. And he just went in and he said, Auntie LJ's got magic hair. She can take her hair on and off. And I just thought that's so sweet.
What changes would you like to see in your community that will change or support people with a live cancer experience?
So one of the biggest things that we could really do with seeing in our community, and it's been proposed a few times and it's been decided that it wasn't financially viable, but then as the population grows, and that is having radiotherapy on island. That's a big deal. So most patients at some point go for radiotherapy, and currently they have to go to the south coast of England. So I think long term, a lot of us would love to see radiotherapy here on island. It would cut down just a lot of the unnecessary stress and travel. All pediatric cancer is treated off island, but there's no real way we'd never be able with our size of island to do that in-house. However, we could be better supporting the families. So I think one of the things I'm desperate to see, and we've made some moves towards it in the last few years, is how irrational it is to put families in a situation where they could end up homeless when actually the government could pay their mortgage for a year or just while the child is in treatment. And actually, that wouldn't be a lot of money, but it gives the whole family that security. So I'd like to see more logic brought into where the money's being spent. I think we could spend less by spending it smarter.
And the last question, do you have a personality trait or something that you were like this before having cancer and that you're still like this after having cancer?
People always said to me, that I spot the things that other people miss. I just, even folk that I didn't know well, it was just something that I picked up on. It was often being said to me by different people. And I think the word for that would be perceptive. So I would say I'm perceptive.
Thank you, Lorna, for this
Thank
interview.
you. It was lovely to talk to you.
Do you like this video? Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with others. Thank you. Bye-bye.